If you're not in the mood right now, we're about to get you in the mood. That's right. If you're listening to this on your way home from work, you're going to go home, you're going to find your partner because you're either going to have a rock hard, solid hard on, or you're going to be soaking wet by the time that we get done with our opening segment. And I say our opening segment because my wife, Nora, is joining me on today's episode of The Luke Kelly Show. What's up, Nora?
You're making me like sweat over here.
Well, you should be sweating. You should be sweating when you read these books. I'm
other things when I read the books, but okay.
Exactly. So this is going to be the very first edition of Nora's Smut Tales. That's right. She reads nothing but smut on her Amazon Kindle all the time.
Other genres.
No, you don't. It's mostly smut. You always say, hey, listen to this, listen to that. And I cannot believe that there are books out there that are like this that are not porn. Okay? I think it's porn. I really do. But you say it's not. Other people tell me, no, it's not. But this is clearly porn. It's
written porn.
Exactly.
It's the scripts. I don't know.
Porn has scripts too.
I know. So this is
usually it's like a gym teacher.
It's pre-production.
Man, I guess. And then there's somebody that has to go through the role play of it all. And usually, I bet you the people that benefit from that is the spouses.
Are you saying you don't benefit?
I didn't say that. That's why I said that, is because there are benefits that come with this. But I think that if you saw me watching porn on a regular basis, on a daily basis, that you would start saying, what the hell are you doing?
I mean, if you were watching it on a daily basis and then I was not getting any benefits in return, I'd be like, we got a problem here.
So I could watch it every day and you wouldn't say anything.
As long as I get some benefits out of it.
Okay. So I should be...
I never said you couldn't watch porn. I can't read these books and then tell you that you can't watch porn.
No, because this is porn.
It is.
It is. Like, I want you... Go ahead, pick up your phone.
Oh, no.
You have a quote.
I want you to read it.
Why do you want me to read it?
Because I just think it's funny. If you swipe to... There's two.
We're only going to do one. So you got to tell me. Because
well, you either that one or swipe the next one, and then you can decide which one you want to read. And those are two of the more like tame ones from this book, because the last...
Tame?
Yeah, because the last two books that I've read, there's two more books in the series, and basically it's a group of friends who open up a sex club.
Ooh, all right. I'm going to use this one because I like one of the terms that it uses here.
Okay.
Her hips start to grind, and I notice the way she keeps lifting herself up, only to have my arms pull her back down. I lift her up long enough to give myself enough room to talk. Mia, when I said sit on my face, I meant sit on my fucking face. That's raunchy.
That was a good part. Wait till you hear that. This book is step siblings. That's his stepsister he's talking to.
Excuse me?
They're 13 years apart. They never lived together. It's okay. The parents are fine with it. We're all good.
Because the parents are fine with it. They're step siblings. They don't really share DNA. It's okay?
Yeah.
See, that's something that would happen in a porno, right? Except it would probably be the son of the dad and the stepmom hooking up.
And the first book is the guy ends up being with his son's ex-girlfriend, who's 20 years younger than him.
See, that's why I'm saying this is porn. Like, I think these ladies that write these smut tales watch porn and then take those ideas and say, okay, I'm going to take this idea now and I'm actually going to write it into like a full-on
You get the
book.
Full romance out of it. They had a happy ending.
They got a story tell. They do a good job of building it up over 200 and however
That was about
many
380 pages.
380 pages. What else kind of content is in a smut tale like this, Nora? Is there like good storytelling behind this?
This one was pretty taboo. So it was kind of just very cliche-ish, but it was still really good. I mean, I guess like at one point they decided just to have a stage and invite everyone to the club and took
At the house?
No. He runs a sex club.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I remember you said that, but I thought that you were saying that they built a stage
No.
the house. That's what I thought you were saying.
No. They built a stage at the club.
Gotcha.
So that way they could have a crowd to watch them.
Wow. I never thought when we first started dating, Nora, that 5 years down the road, 4 years down the road, however long it's been now at this point that you've been reading smut tales.
This is my second year reading smut.
Yeah. So I never thought that you would be reading this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the best part is I read this at work. Like I sit at my desk on my lunch break and read that with a straight face.
Aren't you afraid that there's going to be someone that walks by and takes a glance and be like, oh, wow, she's reading that at work?
No, my biggest fear is when it's an audiobook, and I am terrified that my my AirPods are going to disconnect from my phone.
Ooh, that would be hilarious. Some old guy hearing your audiobook go off.
Yeah.
Be like, yeah, then I shoved my cock in her mouth. And he would be like, excuse me? You want me to do what? You're going to turn an old man on.
Yeah, so I try not to listen to the audiobooks as much. And sometimes the audiobooks are they make it way more like cheesy and taboo-ish. So like reading it I prefer.
Do they have like adult film stars do the voiceover for the audiobooks? Like I feel like Lisa Ann should be voicing over.
That's the girl that I Googled on my work computer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That is the lady.
That I didn't know.
Yeah, from everyone's favorite movie, Nailing Sarah Palin.
I'm sorry. You know porn stars. Like you can name a porn star. I can't do that.
Well, sure. You can name authors. You can name characters in these books. This is porn.
Oh, okay. Well,
I mean, I watched a lot of porn in my life, Nora. Hate to break it to you.
You've done what?
Yeah, I know. I was just as shocked as when you started to read those smut tales over there, talking about sitting on people's faces.
Well, she wasn't listening to him, so he had to tell her to do it.
Hey, if he needs to set the tone and that's what he has to do to set the tone, I mean, whatever. I mean, is there like bondage in this one?
Yes and no. Like the sex club has a bondage room, but this guy's like kink is to watch. Like he prefers watching people. So
excuse me?
So it's a sex club that is supposed to help people be more open with their kinks. So the first book, the guy's kink was he likes the dominance. So he wants a girl on her knees and he wants to like praise her and call her a good girl and basically wants a servant. This guy's kink is to watch and his stepsister likes to be watched. The third book that comes out in like 2 weeks is a throuple.
Uh-huh.
And then the fourth book is a reverse age gap. So the woman is older.
Interesting.
Yeah.
See why we needed to start doing smut tales on this thing, on this podcast? Look at all these details that you're getting about the smut tales and all these different ways and fetishes that people have in their life.
You're going to have so many DMs of people asking what this book is.
I'm sure there's going to be so many people. Hey, what's the title of that one? Why don't you give out the title of that one?
The first book is Praise by Sarah Kate. And then the second one is Eyes on Me.
I feel like you should start a Smut Tales
follow my
book club.
You can follow my book Instagram.
What is it? Nora's Nook Book? Book Nook?
Yeah, Nora's _ Book Nook.
Yeah. I feel like you should start a podcast, though. It would be like a book club.
There's a lot of book Instagrammers.
Is there?
So, yeah, it's a really, and like book talk and everything. But, I mean, now some of my, this is probably the more like vulgar, intense smut because when I started, it was more rom-com. So it was like Hallmark with just a little bit more spice.
And now you're just like, fuck it. Full on spice.
Yeah, like now we're full on like butt plugs, anal, like doing everything.
All right.
So.
Make sure you go to church on Sunday.
God, I hope no one in our family listens.
What's going to happen is
the best part is if you have a Kindle and you have multiple Kindles on your Amazon account, your books show up on everybody else's Kindle. So I share a Kindle account with my dad. So my dad has to see all of the books that I'm reading because they show up on his Kindle.
Do you think he reads them?
No.
What if he reads them to your mom at night?
Don't do that to me.
He might. You never know. That could be their kink. That could be a room in that club that they opened.
There was a book that I read that my dad had read half the series of it because it's like a 25 book series. And I hated the book. And my dad was like, I don't get why you don't like it. It's smut. I didn't think it had like any smut in it. But my dad was like, I don't understand why you didn't like it. There was just it's just raunchy smut. And I'm like, nope. There really
Dad,
wasn't.
smacking a lady on the ass is not smut, okay? That is what we call just like a hi, how are you doing sort of thing.
I know. That's just a casual greeting.
Right. I feel like if you don't do that, you shouldn't be in a relationship.
I know. There's a couple books that I want to read, but the covers are and the titles are just a little much that I don't know if my dad needs to be seeing those on his Kindle. So,
well, no, have him see that. Have him accept the daughter that you are, Nora.
The daughter that just reads porn.
Yeah, it's okay. Everybody has a niche that they love. Everybody's a nerd about something. Your nerdism nowadays is just reading smut. That's it.
Do you want to start reading smut books together?
I don't, because I don't like to read.
I'll read to you.
I'm more of an audio visual type of person.
Oh, so
that's why I like podcasts. That's why I like watching podcasts on TV. That's why
you like watching porn.
Yeah, all those things. So, well, I'm not a big reader. Like I could read some articles, but I'm not. That's why I always liked reading Playboy. The articles were fantastic.
I'm sure they were.
They were really.
Are you just nervous that if we read it together, you won't actually get to finish the book?
Well, yeah, usually when I start a book, I never finish it.
Oh, okay.
But I hope I would finish if we were reading smut tales together.
I would hope so, too.
Yeah. So would I. Well, thanks for breaking down our first ever smut tale with Nora here. And you could expect this every single Wednesday. Nora's going to give you a quote. Every Wednesday, Nora is going to give you a smut tale.
I got to find some more.
You have plenty.
The book that I'm reading now is not smut.
It's okay. You have other books. You write down quotes that you like from all these books. You have a rating scale. You're like the Dave Portnoy of smut tales. You have ratings on all these things.
One chapter, everybody knows the rules.
Exactly. Just the tip. Everybody knows the rules.
Oh, gotta remember that.
Yeah. There we go. Well, thanks for bringing that here this week. That was straight heat. So now that you heard that line, hit pause on this episode of the podcast. Go have some fun with your partner right now. I got to finish recording this podcast right now. Okay. Can you do me one favor, though, before you go upstairs? Can you bring me my phone? I have my notes on what I want to talk about on this podcast.
Okay.
Thank you very much. So I'm so happy that Nora felt comfortable enough because I thought she was almost going to back out talking about the whole smut tales thing because she was blushing when we were sitting on the couch and I was like, hey, you remember I said that I was going to have you on the podcast this week. You're going to be doing a quote from one of the books that you read. And she was like, really? I got to do that? I don't know if I'm ready to do that. And look at that. That's what she reads. That's my wife, everybody. That's why I love her. I really do. All right, what else are we going to talk about on the podcast today? Let me open up my notes section here. As we're talking about Nora, I'll tell you not anything that happened with smut tales, but something that happened in real life. Nora said that I'm starting to use too much slang that I shouldn't be using because I'm too old to use some of the slang. I work with a lot of younger people, okay? And if you surround yourself with younger people, you probably start to use their slang every once in a while without even you realizing that you're using that slang. That's what's happening to me right now. These young kids are rubbing off on me, and now I'm using different phrases, some stuff that I never thought that I would use. The one big slang that everybody uses around there is like straight heat, my guy. Like, that's a big one at work, my guy. It drives me nuts, but I do catch myself saying that every once in a while. And I'm like, you're too old. You're way too old to be using this stuff. I feel like there's a point in your life where you have to decide, are you still going to try and act young, or are you just officially going to become an old person? Because I feel like if you still try hard, then that group of young people will probably make fun of you for trying very hard to still act young. And then all of your old friends will make fun of you because you act older than what you probably are. It's like a no-win situation for you. And I know I'm in a no-win situation here. I've never been someone that has acted my age. Never in my life. I've always felt out of place using slang. I just feel like I might be one of the most vanilla people ever. And when I try to use slang, it sounds bad. Just think about this. Think about just the most generic dude, white guy out there, maybe Stepdad Gary. If you ever watch The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, Stepdad Gary, imagine him for a second and him using slang. That's like how it would be if I use slang. It just does not work. I don't know. I've always tried it, and it sounds so awkward every single time to use slang. And I tell you what, when I say I'm getting older and I feel out of place, I can't be young anymore, I just need to accept being old. The other day I was taking our yard waste out to the curb. There was a kid walking down the street. He had his earbuds in, listening to music. He had a piece of candy wrapper in his hand, and our garbage had already been picked up. Our yard waste had already been picked up. And this kid took his candy wrapper and tried to throw it in our garbage can. He missed. He kept on walking. And it was like at the same time that I opened the front door. I made eye contact with the kid. I opened the door. I said, "Hey, you going to pick that up?" I thought that was some old man shit right there. I now understand why old people were always yelling at kids about their lawn. You spend a lot of time manicuring that lawn, making sure that it looks good for the whole neighborhood to see. But the other thing is all the garbage that people just throw out their cars or when they're walking down the street, just throwing on the ground. Whenever I see that, it makes me so mad. It's another thing that I have to do when I'm mowing the lawn. I have to pick up trash. I shouldn't have to do that. People should be respectful. These young whippersnappers, they have no worries in the world on if they're going to piss off an old guy. They don't care. See, that's something my grandpa would have said. Wanted to fight that kid too. But at least he went back and picked up that candy wrapper and threw it away. I was like, hey, you could still throw it in my garbage can. I don't care about that. But please, don't throw it in my yard. Por favor. There's that babble. How was that? How did that sound? Yeah. I'm learning Spanish. Slowly but surely, I'm getting there, whether you believe it or not. Told you about working with a lot of young guys. They showed me a game to play on my phone, and it is so addicting. If you have an Android-powered phone, you need to download this game. It's called Stumble Guys. It's the most basic game, but it's so much fun. So essentially what this is, you have your character, and you're going up in the first round against 31 other people. And you have to go through this obstacle course that kind of resembles a little bit of Wipeout. There's like these different challenges that you have to do, and you have to get from one point to the other. The first round is 32 people. 16 make it to the second round, and then 8 make it to the final round, and whoever wins the final round is the champion. But it is so much fun. And another great part about this, we could set up like a private link with each other and play. So if you have an Android phone, you can download Stumble Guys and text me and say, hey, what do you think of playing Stumble Guys? And I'm going to probably say, yeah, look me up. My character name on there is Eaton Season. So mature, right? I love playing this game. I get addicted to it now. I'll be sitting down in the basement, just be like, oh man, don't play it. And then I play it for like 30 minutes straight. And it's great for a lot of my coworkers because we all have Android phones at work. So everybody uses one. So everybody can download this game. So addicting. And the last thing that we have to end on is nothing that I ever want to talk about on a podcast. But when I read this, when I saw this for the first time on Tuesday, which was late on Tuesday because I was super busy at work all day. And when you hop on social media to read about a school shooting, the latest article that I read, I believe that 18 people were dead, or 18 students were dead in this Texas shooting. It just hits you. I don't know anybody that lived down there. I don't know anyone that was affected by it. But what I do know is that family members don't have a family member going home tonight, which is scary. Someone that was going to work. Kids that were going to school. It's not acceptable. It's really sad. I couldn't imagine being a parent in this situation. I read another news article. I was reading a ton of them. Because when something like that happens, I can't help but read and think about all those people that lost their life, or think about all those families that are currently going through a lot of stuff right now. And all I can think of when I'm reading these stories is how did we get here? How? At an elementary school. Look, I'm not trying to make this a political statement at all. It's not what I want to do. But if you're a parent and you got to start worrying about sending your kid to school, it's not cool. If you're a kid, you see something like this happen, if you're a kid that survived this and go to that school, how does that make you feel? How do you ever return to go to school? That would be way too tough to do. I don't know if I could handle it. Hell, reading those stories makes you tear up a little bit. Listen, I'm getting older. When I see some of these emotional stories, it gets you a little teary-eyed. And I'm not saying, this story is more than emotional, if there's such thing, because emotions run through you, not just, every single one could run through you in this story. 18-year-old kid shot his grandmother. Then went to the school. Every time, just shake my head talking about it. It's sad, man. Thoughts are with those families, that community down in Texas, because I'm sure it's going to take a lot for everyone involved to get through that. On Monday, we'll have some more fun things to talk about. I promise. We're not going to bring down the mood. My family's coming into town this weekend. My mom, my dad, and my nephew. My nephew Davis, that was already on an episode of the podcast. Maybe we will be recording another episode. Who knows? I'm sure he's going to want to be on the podcast. We'll see if he has more questions for me on Monday's edition of The Luke Kelly Show.